Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, and we are doing the simulcast with our table and also with all of you. So it's a little noisy outside. They're doing God knows what. I think sacrificing, Aztecs to Mayans or vice versa. But we shall see what we shall see. So in a moment we will be joining the table, and then we will have a total, complete experience. So great. So hang on. And if they prove too noisy, I will ask them to please stop. We'll see what happens. So for some reason we're having trouble connecting to the table, but oh, there we go, and there's hang on one second. There we are. Okay. So join with computer audio. There we go, guys. And here we are.
You, Mark and
Hi, guys.
I just found out on Tuesday. I apologize for not coming for volunteer, but my cat has cancer.
Oh no!
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
Oh dear. Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, just 3 days in there. I'm a mess.
Oh
today.
gosh. Well, we're very sorry about that. So
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. I've had her since she's 4 weeks old and she's 17.
Oh my.
Well, that's a long life.
I have glass doors, so when I come home from the table, I go, I got a pretty cat.
Yes, that's great.
Meow, and we go through the whole routine. She's so cute.
Oh wow. Well, so here we are at the table again. Just to remind everyone, we ask people to please mute their mics until it's their turn, so that we don't have too much noise. But Judith, since you're talking, if you want to start, you can go first.
I have nothing to say really, except that I'm dealing with the cat. I'm just going to try and move on. I've got to get some voiceover work going because my roommate is leaving. You can't say something nice. Don't say nothing at all. Anyway, so I'm going to get my animation demo together and work on the scene that I've written for Tomcats. Oh, you know what I do need? I'm going to need an office to shoot that in.
A what? To shoot it?
Office.
An office.
Oh, an office.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll put that out to the table.
Something that looks like an office.
Yeah, put that out to the table email. I'm sure you can find, someone will step up with that.
Just say what kind of office, like a therapist's office.
Like a lawyer's office.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah,
that sounds good. So great. Yeah. So anything else, Judith?
Nothing. I just, I'm dealing with the cat.
Well, we appreciate
dealing with, unfortunately.
Yes.
No,
and I apologize to you guys because I had planned to come out and do volunteer work.
No, it's fine.
But
life intrudes.
I gotta stay home with her.
Yeah, of course.
Even though she's under the bed, she listens to my voice and she'll come out and she'll go back under.
Yeah, I'm like that too.
So I'm just trying to make her as comfortable as possible for as long as I can.
Yeah, well, good.
No, but we appreciate you sharing that, Judith, because we've all lost animals. We've lost several dogs to cancer.
Yeah, she was a great dog.
It's terribly painful.
But so, but we're all together and everything, and anything you need, just let us know.
For all of you.
Yeah, thanks. Well, 3 cheers, Judith. Okay, yay. So, hi, Adam. Is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question? Because again, we're simulcasting between Mr. Sci-Fi, my YouTube channel, and the table.
Right. We actually do have a Mr. Sci-Fi
question.
From the Leviathan, who asks, did you see the signature initiative for bringing sliders back?
No, that's interesting, but I would certainly be open to exploring that project. It was great fun producing it and writing for it back in the day, and it's a really good show. I think it has a lot more life in it, and and Jerry O'Connell is certainly still a viable commodity, so that would be fun. That'd be great fun. So cool.
Maybe we should find out not just who is, on the east of Mason-Dixon line, but does anyone have to leave early for any reason?
Tonight. Nope. And who's on? Is anyone checking in from the middle of the country or the East Coast? Not yet.
Okay.
Good. So Adam, why don't you take your turn?
I think Susan said.
Susan.
Raise your hand.
Oh,
Susan Flake. Yeah, okay, so Susan, go for it.
Susan, go.
Hello.
Hi.
I think my friend Arthur.
Yes.
Hi, Arthur.
Arthur has something to ask you.
Okay, sure.
Amazon.
What asking?
Everybody.
Oh. Anybody know what to do when somebody takes your DVD and copies it and puts it on Amazon.
Well, you complain to Amazon and have them take it down.
Yeah, that sounds good, but I've been trying that for 2 weeks, and I filed a copyright infringement report. And they're totally blasé. I can't get a. It's only been 2 or 3 days since I finally got to the right person.
Yes.
But I don't even know if it's the right person.
Well, you start there, and if you don't get satisfaction within like a week, you say to them, I'm going to go to the press with this, and that'll get them to actually take action very quickly.
And who could I go to at the press?
New York Times, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, anybody. I mean, it's the threat that's important. You know, if you have a nephew who works for, the Brooklyn Eagle or whatever.
If they're casual about copyright infringement, that's not what that company should be looking like.
Yes.
Somebody who's, just turn around and say first, I have a fair number of people on the net. I'm going to, through the table, I'm going to spread the word to be careful of you guys because you ignore copyright infringement.
Yeah. Yes. So, but yeah, I mean,
I have a suggestion if it helps. There's a group that's specifically set up to try and deal with these problems. It's a place called the Trusted Partners Network.
Oh wow, okay.
That's fun.
TPN.org, and they are Trusted Partners Network goes into different studios and verifies that these studios and small facilities and stuff are they're complying with copyright and they're complying with secured network capability, and they have some reach into this kind of thing. So it might be very helpful.
Well,
Great.
that could be very helpful.
Great.
And how do I reach them?
Their website is ttpn.org.
E.T.
T as in Tom, T as in Tom, P as in Paul, N as in Nancy.org. And they will, and if they are unable to do anything related to it directly, I'm sure they will be able to help you get in touch with some people who can, including the MPAA.
Great.
Thanks, Rick. That's helpful.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Great. Terrific. 3 cheers. Yay. So
Let's hear it for the table.
yeah. Anything else, Susan, or is that all you needed?
Well, we do have an agent that is putting out press releases for the film Undaunted, and we're looking to film it in Syracuse, New York.
Great. Terrific.
Yeah, they have a Syracuse film. One of the actors, Tom Bauer, he's the villain in our story.
Oh, cool.
And he's a great guy. And he connected us to the Syracuse film.
That's great.
I love New York, so
That's great.
Cool. That's great.
that'll be good when we're ready. We won't probably be filming until 2021.
Okay. Well, that's great, though. 3 cheers. Yay.
Congratulations, though. That's great.
So great. So, Adam, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, not only that, we have our first super chat.
Yay.
Oh boy.
For those of you watching on Mr. Sci-Fi, if you want to get your question up to the top, great way to do that is with the super chat.
Yeah,
A little money, and I
tip.
will skip to you, and then back to our other questions.
Yes, tips are gratefully accepted. So
right, but this question is from Super Cruise 63. Who asks, have you ever worked with Alec Peters? I love Aries.
yeah, I've known Alec for many, many years, and in fact was very impressed with Prelude to Axanar. I advised him of some of the pitfalls that lay ahead on that project, and he sort of plunged ahead anyway. And
He's a feisty attorney.
yeah, and Paramount kind of stomped him, but thankfully he's still doing what he can regarding Axanar and so forth. But again, after I did the Star Trek New Voyages episode with George Takei, that Elaine and I did, and Michael Reeves and so forth, I knew not to continue to make Star Trek fan films, etc., because Paramount owned and Viacom and CBS owned Star Trek. So that led to Space Command because I own Space Command. I don't, I always have advised anyone who has the ability to make their own project, that make their own property that they own, and no one can send them a cease and desist. You know, it's kind of important.
Well,
But,
the thing is that what he admired was like looking to perhaps getting the rights for Space Patrol. And although it didn't look like
You
there
mean
was
on
a problem,
us? You
yes,
mean, yeah.
us, for Space Command.
Space
But-
Patrol was an American television show in the 50s that I'm a big fan of.
But in the end, we were very glad that we didn't do that, because what you're able to do when you just love a show, but it's not your show, is you really laundry list what you love about that show, and you're able to insert a whole bunch of fresh, original material based on who you are.
Yes.
That would have never existed if you just tried to fit yourself into that particular format. So I think it's a good idea to be inspired by other material, but then decide what it is you love about it, and then again process it through your own imagination and go for it.
Yes, I mean it's a balancing act between doing stuff that's original to you and finding the way to promote it in such a way that people pay attention to it. So in my case, you know, I affiliated and teamed up with actors from all these different science fiction shows and movies, and brought Ian McCaig aboard as a designer out of the Star Wars universe and so forth. So that way you're not utilizing someone else's IP, but you're utilizing some of the people who made that IP wonderful, and Doug Jones and so forth. So that was my own journey. So I guess, Rick, do you want to introduce yourself and go from there?
Sure. I'm kind of in a state where I'm not really sure what to say about being here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really feel quite blessed to be here. My name is Rick Steele. I guess a little history on myself might be kind of appropriate. I've been a sound designer for, I don't know, some 30 years, and about 7 years ago got into visual effects, and now I find myself through the kindness of David Bartlett connected up with Mark to help him with Space Command, and I'm completely and thoroughly stoked about it.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
That's kind of, you know, there are so many things I think I need, but, you know, you got to organize it before you ever get started even asking for anything.
Yes.
It's just, I'm just really grateful to be here and meet what seems like some very cool, very nice people.
Great. And also, just to let you know, Rick, there's also an email that you can sign up for through David Bartlett that connects you up with all several, which connects you up with all several thousand members of the table around the world, and you can send one email out and it goes out to all of them, and so it's a very powerful tool. So just to let you know about that.
Hey, Mark?
Yes.
I'm kind of halfway in my car on my way home. I managed to get.
Well, for God's sake, get completely into your car.
I got an amazingly high internet speed on at the studio for the first time today, and actually opened an email, and I'm really excited about that.
Oh, that's great.
So
Great.
the first action of mine today is to tell you about Rick Steele. Rick helped us on a film with James Kinnear, and really came to the plate and really pulled off some amazingly beautiful work under you know, unusually short-lived circumstances, and he's a great guy.
Cool.
So I'm really happy he's here at the table. I'm really happy pitching in. I'll fully get you the table email and get you hooked up, Rick.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, welcome. 3 cheers. Yay. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we've got a question from, let's go with, our good friend Mark Lungo.
Hi, Mark.
Who asks, have you seen Tenet? If so, any thoughts?
No, they're not showing it here yet. It's we're in lockdown in LA, and so movie theaters are not open. I'd have to go to Las Vegas if I wanted to see it, which is, frankly, I'm not that big a Christopher Nolan fan that I would do that. So, you know, it's, I mean, he's not one of my favorite directors. I recognize his talent, but I find him so gimmicky and so much into the mechanism of the gimmick that, I mean, I like Dunkirk a lot, and Interstellar isn't terrible, but I just, you know, I can enjoy his films without, but he's not, I mean, you know, Ridley Scott has done a lot more for my life than Christopher Nolan in terms of their work. And so, so that's some of it. But yeah. So let's see. Let's see. Why don't we do Heidi? Heidi, how about you? And then we'll do Paul, because I noticed that Paul just came on.
Hey, Paul from London. Not
so
London. Where are you from? Where are you?
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah. So Heidi, do you want to take your turn, and then we'll do Paul afterwards?
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Heidi Miro. I am a production assistant / logger / transcriber.
Mm-hmm.
So I currently work as a logger transcriber for a reality show. And post-production is in full swing, and they are wanting us to pick up our speed to, get logs done. So that's what I've been doing all week, and trying to give myself some, I guess, some breaks in between so I don't get burned out.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited about, shows coming up. And of course, I'll be helping out on Space Command. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all it for me. Thank you.
Are you sort of isolated in blogging, or do you have to talk to or deal with many of the other people in the company?
Pretty much through email is how we talk.
Yes.
Okay. Because sometimes when you're working in a company, when you find like-minded people, they end up in the same places you'd like to go. And so it's very good to be social in such companies, but email's
What's hard now during the pandemic, of
really
course,
tough,
so I think, yeah. So anything else, Heidi?
Oh, no, I have nothing to ask for this week. Thank you.
Yay. Cheers. So Adam, another Mr. Sci-Fi comment question?
Yes, we have another question, or we have a question from Arkansas Big Dog Hensley.
Yes.
Who says, good evening, I hope all is well.
Yep.
How is this filming at home for parts and movies going? How is your filming coming along?
Well, many of you know that we did a 2-hour Space Command episode entirely with our actors shooting in their own homes, etc. And that came out very well and was, a very fun experience and experiment. But we're ramping up to shoot on Sunday in our studio, where we have to have COVID tests beforehand. We're all going to be, I guess, shrink wrapped or whatever to protect everybody. And, and we're going to shoot with just 2 actors. It's several small scenes from the 4th hour of Space Command, but that's really, going back to the way things used to be, albeit with all the COVID precautions. So our plan is to shoot a lot moving forward, but again, we learn as we go, and safety is the most important thing.
2 actors, but it's an action sequence.
Yes.
So it's got
stuff happening.
A lot of logistics.
Yeah, cow on a catapult.
Yes.
But so it's going to be really fun though, and we're also going to be doing the Zoom table read for Sweet Haven, the show we're creating with Rockney O'Bannon, and that's going to be really, 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 really cool. So, okay, yeah, but that's the answer to that. Let's see, Paul, why don't we do you since you're in Liverpool?
Good evening, and I think Adam must have been a bit, didn't have much on this week, because he sent the link out really early.
Good.
To be honest, this week has been a weird week, because we knew we were going back into lockdown, and so we've been preparing for that. I've been offered a few jobs, and there's just nothing you can do at the minute, because you can't go and film anywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere is closed down. So it's just been a quiet week, really. I've been sort of watching the Trump stuff. But
that's God. Program. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah.
And I do like David's new way of doing this in a car.
Yes. Amusing.
Now, I heard you, as I came on, I heard you saying about the email for the whole of the table.
Yes.
How'd you get that?
David can coordinate with you. David Bartlett can coordinate with you, and
you have to sign up. And
yeah, and because it's a very powerful tool, because
it is.
Thousands of people are hooked into it, and you can send out a request for whatever you need. So it's great. I mean, we've been running the table for 27 years. And so it has, during normal times, it has offshoots all over the country. And I think we probably have a member from almost every country in the world.
Gathering rosebuds.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. So go ahead, Paul, please.
Right, because I think I've been in the table about 8 years now. So
yeah.
Oh.
It's very fun.
So there's nothing I need really. It's I just enjoy the meetings and well done to the pair of you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Well, 3 cheers. Yay. So, Adam, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
We do, but we do have another super chat.
Yay.
Question, but also from Super Crew 63.
Well, thank you.
Who says Star Trek needs your help on these new series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. But the problem is getting them to have that opinion. You know,
That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like people often ask me why I've never been hired on staff on any of the Twilight Zone reboots. And yeah, you'd think I would be the first person they would go to. But because I've produced all the Twilight Zone home video sets, you know, since the dawn of time, and of course wrote the Twilight Zone companion. But you know, having worked in television for so many years, I understand how it works, and I know that it's never about a sensible decision. It's always about, you know, for instance, it's much more likely that an executive at CBS would hire a producer from CSI to work on Star Trek than someone who actually worked on Star Trek, you know, and there's a ton of reasons for that, but that's how the network mentality works, and you know, and again, and also, you know, often when people come aboard a show, they feel like they have to make it edgy, and edgy means violent. Edgy means having people swear. It means having people be cruel to each other. It means having the characters at each other's throats. And this is a huge mistake when it comes to Star Trek or many of the other shows that we all grew up loving. And you know, compassion is really not valued as much as it should be in series television,
well, also,
in my opinion.
The audience isn't valued as much, because if you come from a theater, you can't get away with that much because people will boo you or you fail out of town.
Right. And yeah, the only other place you can go to get booed is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's tomb if you're Trump, you know. But Jesus.
But the thing is that what Mark always did was, when he'd be called on a show or a show that was floundering, is he would go directly to the fans, and he would go to the base, or he would go to the conventions.
Well, I go to a convention, yeah.
And he'd say, "What do you like to see? What don't you like to see?"
Yeah, and this isn't to pander, because you're not going to jump to their orders, but often the things that they object to are also the things that you object to, or the things they want to see are often the things you want to see. And so it gives you a great litmus test of what will make the show work or what will make the show better. And again, honoring people, you know, coming to people with respect and really listening. I mean, again, I'm not there to tell anyone what they should be watching. I'm there to make TV as best I can and hope that what entertains and moves me will entertain and move others. And so far, I've been very lucky. That has been the case. But you have to come to it with a mixture of hard work and humility, and all the best people I've worked with have that combination. So you know. So okay. So let's see. So I guess Nina, you're next on our screen. Yeah, 1 minute as you unmute. There you go.
I'm live. Hey, hi everybody. How you doing?
Good.
Hi, good. Thank you.
So, LA, we're not as much a lockdown as you guys are.
Yeah.
But you guys are actually, you and Florida are kind of stepping out of the fray.
Yeah.
As far as I was just reading, so yay.
yeah. Slow but steady.
Tenet. I saw Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yes.
It was, you know, it was interestingly done. I like Christopher Nolan, but I know you're talking. I think like he didn't know. Is he a? Well, my brain just stopped.
Well, he's building puzzle boxes. You know, that's the thing. Yeah.
What is it? Alien.
Yes. Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like a James Bond.
Yes.
Sci-fi, which I like. I just didn't like the direction.
Yeah.
That he took lead, and I love Washington. It's awesome, but
yeah.
I just anyway. That's my thing. And I'll follow next week. Tell you what so I've been looking up classes. Like
great. Okay.
Great.
So now I've picked 2. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to And found my PC, and I'm downloading all my stuff, which is very exciting. My scripts to try to understand where I was at with them, if I want to go back or if I want to go forward without them.
That's great.
That's exciting. And I found about just this afternoon, found 4 auditions for podcasts and things that you guys are trying to, radio shows, things like that.
Cool.
Which there was none when you guys were talking about. There was nothing happening for that before at all. I was like, oh my wife and me. But I found 4, and I found a face group. This is all because of you guys. Because I was at the point where here we're going like I didn't even know where to dig. I threw the shovel out. I'm just done. And I'm like, I'll raise my cat. That'll be that. I found a website, a Facebook group that is for actors for over 40.
Great.
And they've got auditions on there all over the place.
Huh.
Wow.
And
Good.
they direct each other to, and I got accepted into it, so I'm in that, and so I thank you for that.
Great.
Oh, it's great. But congratulations for being so proactive.
Well, no, you guys really boot me in the butt. Really.
Good. Good. So anything else you need right now?
No, a cat with less hair, but that's
Yes.
about it.
Okay, well, 3 cheers. Yay. So, Adam, another Mr. Sci-Fi question perchance?
Yeah, let's go with Burnett, director of Free Enterprise.
Okay.
I'd love to see you and him discuss Trek on his show Robservations on his Burnett Work YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, if someone wants to fire off an email to him and suggest me as a guest, I'm certainly open to that. And you know, it's funny because there are many subjects that I don't generally talk about unless someone prompts me, and then it turns out I know a ton about it. So if I'm talking about, you know, the cartoon shows I wrote in the 70s, or Twilight Zone, of course, or science fiction in general, or all these different things, I mean, it's fun to have those conversations because there's so many sub genres of science fiction, so many sub groups, you know, and so it's fun. And again, you know, I'm a big fan of science fiction movies of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. A big fan of science fiction TV shows of the 60s. You know, all on and of course the science fiction novels of the 50s and 60s. You know, that's sort of the era that I grew up reading science fiction. Well, I read it in the 60s and 70s, but I was reading used paperbacks, and so they were published in the 50s and 60s. And so, fortunately, I was able to meet most of those writers. Going to science fiction conventions when I was a teenager. So very fortunate in that way. So let's see, Bonnie, I guess you're next, Bonnie Janowski.
First of all, today I was over at Space Command and moved around too much, but the reason I mentioned that is your neighbor, Tony, was very, very helpful.
Oh, great.
Oh, right.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he saw us trying to load that in, and he helped Joel and I. So
great.
Oh, that's great.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, so that helped.
Terrific.
We got to see, wow, I hadn't been over the Space Command studios in a long time. It changed a lot. You have the 2 studios, and wow.
Yeah.
Looking great.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Thanks to Mr. Bartlett.
Thanks to David Bartlett, the man driving the car.
Who is relentless.
Yeah.
And untiring. Well, he tires. But
He's probably tired now.
He's probably tired now.
Yeah. But you know. But okay. But go ahead, Bonnie, please.
Yeah, I'm going to be meeting with a composer friend of mine next few days because he has like all these different websites. I was still kind of trying to decide whether to go on to Wix or anyway. There are about 4 different, at least 4 different platforms that you can go on to.
Cool.
Van Zugel handles mostly musician websites, Wix, Squarespace, and now I learned about something, I create something. Anyway, so I'm doing that. And then doing more networking. I'm also running again for re-election.
Oh, wow.
For the Local 47, the Musicians Union Board of Directors.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm on a slate that's endorsed by 2 previous presidents and
Great.
a lot of really heavy-duty people. So that should be good. I've been on the board since 2003. So
Wow.
Wow, good
That's
for
great.
you. Wow.
Time to go home.
yeah.
So yeah, great. Wow.
I don't think too many Local 47 members on this table.
I used to be a Local 47 member.
Oh, cool.
Wow. There you go.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, that's
never played a day in my life, but I was a
join the union.
well, not professionally.
That's
but,
fun though. Wow.
I was stage manager for an orchestra.
Cool.
And I was paid through them.
Really? What a small Zoom screen.
Yes, that's fun.
Who knew?
Cool. Congratulations. That's great. So cool. So anything you need, Bonnie?
Just if anybody has any suggestions on what platforms they've used for their website. My website is very old, and I want to completely redo it. And just any ideas there. And then still kind of looking. There are a couple software like Jamulus, Jack Trip. There are all these. They're getting closer, but still, if people want to rehearse or perform music together, there's still too much latency, but it's getting closer and closer. But if anyone hears of any software in that area, that would be helpful. Cool. And just anybody needing music, working on a couple different things, composing. I'm going to have another piece played in a classical concert. So yeah, it's interesting doing a lot of concerts and different things online. So it's cool.
So, and I have a question, Bonnie. Thanks so much for moving that chair. Did anyone plug it in and find out if it actually works? Has anyone done that yet?
Oh yeah, David tried it. It worked very comfortable. He said this is dangerous to have there.
That's great. That's great. Because and to let that's fun. Well, to let everyone know what this is about is I live in a neighborhood where people actually get rid of perfectly fine furniture. Often they'll be moving and just don't want to take it with them or whatever. And so in addition to many, many leather chairs and sofas and end tables and all sorts of stuff that I found and is now living at the studio that our staff is using, someone got rid of a recliner with the massages. It has a massage capability. And so we put it in the garage here at our place, and Bonnie and company took it back to our studio. And so, because my idea was that since everyone was working long, hard days, being able to sit down and have a massage might be a very pleasant perk. So I'm really glad it works.
Oh, I don't know if he tried. This couch, is that a massage couch?
No, it's the recliner.
You might want to zap. You might want to zap it with insecticide. Who knows who was living in it that caused them to get rid of it?
Yeah. Well, I think mainly that we live in an extremely transient world, and now more than ever, and so that's where people don't want to lug stuff.
But it's a very good idea to wipe everything.
Of course,
Yeah.
and so, but anyway, so that's great. Thanks a lot, Bonnie. Yay!
Also, I was impressed because the garage is empty.
Wow.
Basically. I mean, they're very neat.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. But that's great. Thanks a lot. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we have. You mentioned earlier about the ton of reasons that CBS would rather hire a CSI guy rather than someone who
knows what they're doing.
That you go into detail about that.
Sure. Here's how it works. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Here's the way it works. What matters to a network executive is that the person they put in charge of running the show or the staff under them are people they've worked with before who came through. And it matters most of the people who are running networks are not science fiction fans. So they view themselves as in the business of creating content, and what genre the show is largely irrelevant. So in other words, if someone's been running CSI and been doing a good job, then they put them onto Star Trek or whatever. And there are exceptions to this. For instance, Michael Chabon, who's a terrific novelist, was on Star Trek last year. And, I don't know if he had a good time or a bad time or what, but again, generally they'll hire people that have been successful, that have come through for them, that they have a long relationship with, and that's how it works. So for instance, when Alec Peters thought that they were going to look at Axanar and hire him to do the new Star Trek series, I told him that was naive, because they wouldn't hire someone from outside the fold. And that was the same thing as when Michael Reeves and I pitched a Captain Sulu series after doing World Enough and Time. I knew that it was not very likely that they would pick it up, just because it makes much more sense for them, from their perspective, to bring someone like Alex Kurtzman aboard to do Star Trek than someone like me. And and so I'm the king of my own little kingdom here, and that's fine with me. But I understand how their heads work, and so I don't. Quality is not. How can I explain it? They're almost immune to quality. It's not that they're looking for low quality or high quality or any of that. It's just that it's outside of their sphere, and that makes it too big a risk. And but on the other hand, if someone on the show said, "Oh yeah, Mark Zicree, yes, let's bring him aboard," sure, of course. I think you just need someone on the inside to make that suggestion rather than me or someone else who isn't within that little enclave. So that's sort of the ins and outs of it. So let's see. So I guess Rachel, you're next if you want to take your turn.
I'm sorry, you caught me with a chip in my mouth.
That's okay. That's okay.
Can I just just address Bonnie real quick because she was asking about the websites.
Sure.
Bonnie, what I tell my students often, there's a site called Wix.com, and it's user friendly. Everything is already designed. All you do is pick one of those gorgeous templates that they have designed and plug in your information. That's really what I love about it. And a lot of my students at LA Film School, that's where I send them to create their websites. And then you can also have the option of buying your domain, of course, and customizing and all that good stuff. But that might be more easier for you to use, for you to operate.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank
there's
you.
There's also a trick that I learned when you can kind of almost get your domain name for free in that if you sign up for a free website, they use the email address you use to sign up as the website. The email address .wix.com. So if you wanted your website to be Bonnie plays music .wix.com, you would sign up you would set up an email address, Bonnie plays music @gmail.com, and then sign up on Wix, and then Wix will make that your website.
That's
So,
nice.
just a little
intriguing.
Trick that I learned.
I'm back. Oh, so Rachel, were you mentioning Wix? Is that the one you were recommending? I'm sorry, I just was gone for a second.
Wix.com.
Yeah, great.
Wix.com.
Terrific. So how are you doing? And is there anything you need?
I'm doing well, thank you. I actually was I filmed a documentary during COVID and the stay-home restrictions that we have here in LA.
Great.
And I filmed it on Zoom, actually.
Cool.
Especially in this climate, you would be shocked that something like that would come out, but it came out very well.
Wow.
Being on Zoom. And I didn't know that what Zoom does when you record a Zoom session, every individual person that's in that Zoom room gets their own individual audio clip. So if you ever thought about filming something by Zoom, it may work in your favor.
Wow.
Of course, there might be some buffering, but you still get an audio clip for each person who signs in, which I love that. Of course, the sound mixer love that too. So I did a project. It's called Black Men in an American Pandemic. Of course, it's in relation to the climate today that we're dealing with, and how Black men are being affected with police brutality and racism and racial profiling and all of that. So I just put together a campaign trailer, and I launched that. It was I think last month.
Yes, good.
I think I launched it, and it did well. It's a lot of people are reaching out to us about it, and it's doing pretty good. But I had to kick off the Indiegogo campaign because while production is done, now I'm on post, and I'm having some issues with financing the post-production side of things. So we have to do the Indiegogo. So that's probably where my need would be, is to help just put the word out about the Indiegogo.
Sure.
And so I'm happy to sit on a table email about that as well.
That's a good way.
Too,
yes. And again, with the table emails, you can put out links but not attachments for various reasons, and so that's fine, absolutely. And it's and the way it works with the table is it's absolutely fine to promote the projects you're working on, the fundraising campaigns, any premieres, anything, if and that's as long as it's related to the writing, directing, acting, producing, etc.
And since you're on you're trying to raise money but you're in post, you can also say, would you like to donate your skills for this specific thing? Because we have a lot of skilled people, And right now, there's tremendous emotional punch.
I like that.
You know, to people who want to jump on board.
Great.
I like that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Cool. So great. So yeah. So anything else you need?
That's it. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Cheers. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Let's go to some great questions coming in from our regular commenters. We've got Hayes494.
Wow.
Who asks, do you think Jerry Ryan's character on Picard fell into what I call Monica Reyes' syndrome, in which Chris Carted did when he brought back the X-Files, but dramatically changing a beloved character?
I don't know. You know, I didn't watch all the Voyager episodes. I mean, obviously I was aware of Jerry Ryan and you know, I was on the set when they were shooting with her, and you know, you definitely swallow your gum in looking at her. But I liked the new the new character they gave her, the bounty hunter thing. You know, I'd watch a series with that. So I wasn't bent out of shape about that. But that went down the wrong pipe. So so that's sort of that. I mean, I think she's a wonderful actor, and you know, I want her to have every opportunity. You know, many of the Star Trek actors are extremely talented, and the more opportunity they're given, the better. You know. So let's see. So Dave, I guess you're next. Dave Edison.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, boys and girls. How's it? Oh, wait. Wait. Just wait. Be careful. Here we go. All right. I just want to make sure everybody's okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So actually, taking I'm fine. Taking a COVID test in the morning.
Yeah.
For the to be prepared for our shoot on Sunday.
Great.
And if it doesn't show up, I'll just wait for the results on my phone. So been working on these visual effects that we have for the second episode of Space Command, and
Yes.
I'm just tweaking out some stuff that we got in and making it more, you know, Mark and Elaine compliant. Is that the proper term?
Yes.
Yes, specifically, yes.
And I don't know, probably this and that other than that, but it's just been the main focus. So
Yeah, I think, and Dave, I think the term is Mark-centric.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, exactly. I remember there was a member of the table who had been in the diplomatic corps. This is back when Madeleine Albright was Secretary of State, I guess she was, and her team used to talk about orbiting planet Albright. And so I thought that was great. And so yeah. So anything you need,
as opposed to the Secretary of State, no, not all that right.
Yes, the Death Star. But so anything you need right now?
No, just some time to get this done. But
Great.
Everybody's staying safe. I'm a little anxious about heading down to be on a set for the first time in a while.
Yes.
Since before the Boubans.
Yes.
But we'll survive unless we don't.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's great. Thanks for all the hard work, Dave. It's much appreciated.
Great.
You're doing a great job. Yay.
I'll be sending you a scene shortly.
Great. I look forward to it very much. Thank you. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Moving on to our next question from El Johnarino.
Cool.
He asks, can you talk a bit about how you get Space Command scored? For example, do you give notes up front to your composer, or do you just hand it all off? Is it made digitally? Are there live musicians?
Yeah. Well, our composer on Space Command is David Rakelin, and the way we do it with David is, you know, we'll let him take a first run at stuff, and then if we want anything changed, then we say let's tweak it. It's a mixture of electronic and live musicians, and often what we'll do is we'll have the electronic first, and then once it's approved, then we'll bring in the live musicians because of course they cost more money. So, but you know, and again, it's science fiction allows these big orchestral moments, and then also small, subtle things too. So it's a great challenge. But fortunately, David is a big science fiction fan, and he knows a lot of the history of musical scores that I do. and more so, of course. And so it's, you know, he loves working on Space Command. So let's see. So Akira, I guess you're next.
Nice. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Good. Yeah. So my name is Akira, and originally from Tokyo, Japan. I moved to LA 2017, in 2017, and now I'm, consulting with my lawyer. If I could, my O1 visa could extend it or not. I submit all my documents to my lawyer, and now they are, preparing to submit their immigration office. Yeah, and I paid a lot of money to them again.
Oh
That's
dear.
a good
Okay.
business here anyway. Anyway, and I'm a film composer, and I already, put my information on the chatting board, my homepage address and my Facebook address, and if you would like to connect me, I'm really love to. I'm living in Toluca Lake, LA, and I'm a film composer, and I'm also guitarist, jazz guitarist. I do not play out very much right now, but I'm trying to some playing the gig on Facebook. Sometime I'm playing and practicing. And before the quarantine, I had some comedy gigs. I'm not proud, but I played with some comedy improv actor and accompaniment. Guitar player. I'm accompanying guitar player at that time, several months ago. And I'm teaching Japanese to make my living right now, and I have right now more than 10 students right now. So busy now. Anyway, so that's for me. So thank you very much.
Great.
So, Kira,
yeah.
do your attorneys need anything to help you stay in the country? I mean, are they asking you to bring them anything?
Right now, I already finished, submitting all my stuff right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and right now, just what I need is just lucky.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yay. So
It's
another
like a gamble for everybody. If you are lucky, you can get it. If you're not lucky, waste the money.
Yeah. Yep.
Mark and Elaine is, and I think he may not be knowing this, but if you guys have done this in the past, where
Yes.
you've taken people where you've got them to stay in the U.S.
Yes.
longer by tying them to Space Command.
Yes, and
Yes.
absolutely, and we're happy to do that with people. So
Yeah.
David Bartlett can also be instrumental in
He's been very, very helpful with that.
Yeah.
In that, what they want is like some sort of long-term connection
Yes.
to somebody who is in production.
Yes.
And so Space Command and the
We're happy to help. Yes.
the many members of Space Command.
Yes, and the many tentacles.
Yeah, the many
Yes.
tentacles, because people will be so many people shooting short films that sometimes it's helpful because you'll have like what was required a few years in advance of work that they feel you uniquely can only bring to them. And their companies here. So whether it's just Space Command or multiple members, do feel free to reach out to the table because we've gotten a lot of very talented, good people the opportunity to stay here.
Yes.
Just with that kind of, where you can project forward into about 3 to 5 years for work.
Yeah. So we're happy to help in any way we can.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Sure.
Yay. Thanks, Akira. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
You got it. Let's do it. How about we have another question from Hayes494, who asks, have you or Elaine seen J. Abrams' Challenger documentary?
Yes.
On Netflix?
Oh, we just watched that. It was terrific. Very, very sad, but really
touching.
a great
Really,
job.
just
I highly recommend it. It's about the Challenger explosion and the things that could have been done to avoid it. And but it really is. It's a wonderful job.
And the fact that there's wonderful people working at NASA, but there's still with the second disaster,
you mean Columbia?
With Columbia, that the corporate mentality is still the corporate
the bureaucratic
mentality. But you saw not only the people who were damaged, but you saw the workers who were wildly trying to change the corporate mentality, where people would come above.
And supersede them.
Yeah.
But it's a really good documentary, so I highly recommend it. So let's see who's next. I guess Carol Field. Go for it.
Hi. Thank you
Hi.
for being here. Thank you all for being here for me. I know you all come to make Carol happy here. I know. You'll be glad to know I'm probably not reading anything this week. It's fun to be for you. You're a great audience, and it's fun to get it out. So thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm available for table reads. Two things I thought of this morning when I remembered I was coming here today. I got this. And it's such a beautiful edition of the Jewish Journal.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Wow.
And there's a bunch of stuff in there on Yom Kippur.
Wow.
And one of the things it said about Yom Kippur was, give yourself a gift this year. Figure out what your authentic self is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And this, I thought about that. I said, well, that's probably not something that you fantasize about. It's probably not something that you uber wish. It's probably not something where your parents hyperly imprinted upon you. How do you find your authentic self?
Mm-hmm.
But I love that. And I said, I think that is kind of a gift to find out where you're really at. Then you get to play with whatever you want to define your core. So I just thought that was so nice this morning. I wanted to offer it.
Oh, that's great.
Great.
Find your authentic self.
Cool.
Right? Something else happened today. This was interesting. I pulled out a tape from a singing lesson from like 11 years ago.
Huh.
It was a fairly new teacher. And I had just gotten a voiceover for Jeep Wrangler, singing thing for Jeep Wrangler. And I wanted to take it to her to listen to what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And all she kept saying the whole time, I remember this so well, the whole time was, I want it in your chest voice. I want it in, and I'm going, that wasn't my callback, and that's not what they hired me for. They want me up here.
Right.
She said, no, you're more authentic in your chest voice.
Mm-hmm.
I went there so confused because I was about to shoot it in 5 days or something. And she's saying, no, what you're doing isn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And she said to me, I got Angela Lansbury out of her head voice. I'm thinking, I'm not real impressed. That's real cool.
Uh-huh.
So I'm driving home, and my thoughts, and this is why I bring this up. I'm driving home, my thoughts were, maybe I should do it in my chest voice. No, they want it in my chest, in my head voice. Wow, maybe I'm just not good enough to be able to make all these adjustments, which was comical. It made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I really started thinking awful things. Like, well, maybe I shouldn't do any of this. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone externally confused me, I suddenly should not be doing any of this.
Yes, Jesus.
So, I just, I want to offer that back to you. That don't let anyone, I was there just for a singing lesson, that's different. But I was there to work on music for something specific. And she told me, no, they're wrong, essentially.
Wow. Huh.
So,
wow.
Don't let anybody take you out of your core.
Yes.
Good for
you're
you.
not hiring them to take you out of your core.
Yeah, that's good advice. So anything else you need right now?
Do you think it's worth it to go to AFM? They're doing it all Zoom this year. Did I
No, I don't think so. I mean, again, the question is always, what do you want to accomplish? It's always, AFM, I think, is useful when you are preparing a feature or have a feature. But again, Elaine likes AFM more than I do. But on the other hand, if they have speakers you want to learn from, it's just balancing out if it's worth the money because you're not going to meet anybody.
I liked the financial group when it was like in person.
In person, yeah, that's very different.
I always liked the talks, the financial talks.
Uh-huh.
And something else that I enjoyed, I would always have my pitch down to 1 minute. And then if they wanted to know more, I'd tell them more.
Yes. I
covered a lot of territory of anybody who released stuff that I actually liked. But one of the things I like the most about the AFM is someone would say, oh, no, this is how you have to release a film. It can't cost more than $500,000. And then the next person would say, oh, no, a film can never be successful if you spent less than $20 million. And I never contradicted them because they were trying to give me their best story. But what I really enjoyed was the fact that there were so many, you could cherry pick. There were so many different patterns and so many different stories that you say, okay, well, if I have this kind of movie, I can go to this person. If I have that kind of movie, I go to that person. Because they knew their own marketplace, but they didn't know anything beyond their own little trench. Mm-hmm. They would never say, "Oh, go over there. That's a better movie for them."
Right.
But what was very helpful for me, and I never contradicted anyone because that was their truth, that was their model. But it really helped me understand the wide range of possibilities for getting your story out there.
Yes. Yes.
You people are like my teachers.
Oh, well, I appreciate your saying that, about being yourself. I mean, in my experience, every person has this magical gift that no one else ever had or will have, whether it's artistic or a point of view that I never would have thought of. But I think every person brings a unique gift, and I think the greatest tragedy are people who quash those gifts that would be otherwise given to humanity.
The toxic people.
All the toxic people who come out of fear, when all we really need is to relax and find our passion.
See, here's the thing of it. I agree. Here's the thing of it. Totally let go of, am I good enough? Is this good enough? The real question always is, what do I want to share with the world?
Oh, God.
That's it.
Major brain.
And the moment you change the paradigm, it's not about your worth. It's about what can I take from my heart and share with the world. And that's all it's about. It's the conversation between you and the world. And whatever gets you to that the most directly is the path to go. Again, for any artist, you're not building a body of work until you are in direct conversation artistically with your audience. Everything else is just a preliminary. And so many people get lost in trying to win the approval of people that don't give a shit. And I'm talking about the executives and all of these guardians of the gate. And if you just say, okay, let's go to my audience.
Which are just the conduit. They're not who you're talking to. They're just the conduit.
Their goals are totally different from your goals. I need to be governed by or ruled by, and that's not why I'm here on this earth.
But you find out what moved you, because what meant a lot to me. It's like I'm thinking, I don't have anything genius to say or to add in terms of my writing. But the thing is that when I was growing up and having a bit of a struggle, the thing that made the biggest difference to me were like certain Russian novels, certain Americana novels. And it wasn't that they were giving me new ideas, but they were saying that they shared the same ideas I had, where I felt that I was the only one with these feelings and with this view of the world. And so my feeling had been, I'm like a space alien. I can't relate to anyone. And then I read it in these books, and it's not like in most books it was a fresh insight. It was more like, those feelings are human feelings which I share, and to that degree I belong, because they told their truth. And when anybody hears a truth that's true to them, you feel more connected to the world, more worthy of the world, more like you should be part of the world. And so in a way, just understanding. And I thought, I may not ever be able to write like Steinbeck, but I can share my truth and perhaps reach somebody who felt as cut off and isolated as I did at that time.
Yeah, great. Anything else, Carol?
No, I think you two are amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yay. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
There we go. Yes, we have one more for now.
Yes.
From another one from Arkansas, Big Dog Hensley.
Hi.
Who says, I'm thinking of doing a Mountain Man movie with a sci-fi twist to it.
Sure, high time.
Have you seen anything like that?
I haven't seen anything like that, but it's a good idea. I mean, Mountain Man movies are fun and science fiction is fun. So sure, I mean, go for it. It's it's and often it's about how you do the movie. How it's like for instance, you talk about Alien. The monster gets aboard a spaceship and jumps out of people's chests. I mean, that can be a terrible movie, but it's actually a great movie because of how it's done, how it's handled. So yeah, go for it. I think that sounds great.
I've seen to that is Bigfoot, right? The Bigfoot films.
The Bigfoot films? I suppose so, yes.
Sebastian.
Yeah, well, yeah. But no, go for it. Absolutely. You bet. So let's see. Earl, I guess you're next on my screen. So go for it.
Hello, everyone. Earl F. Smith here, multi-award-winning composer, sound designer, sound editor, musician.
Great.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm using this little phone thing that's different than last year. Or
Okay.
last
time.
log on.
Yeah.
It's been a busy couple of weeks, which is one reason why I haven't made it to the table. I'm staying still on Mark's film. Gone as far as I can until we have locked picture. I just started another short thriller / drama, which I'm doing sound design, and I may be composing as well. So I started that. I should probably finish that by Saturday or
Great.
Sunday.
That's great.
Getting new students added on is crazy. I don't know what it is or why I'm attracting, but I'm very blessed. So I'm at 40 private students now.
Wow. It's great.
So now I'm starting to turn people on to someone else. But that's about it for me. I was interested in you speaking about the relationship with David Recklin on composing.
Sure.
I do work on quite a few films that they've never really worked with an actual composer or original music. So just to hear that there's a synth mock that's done, and then after it's approved to add live elements,
yes,
a lot of people don't understand. Because once you record something live and then you want to change it, well, you got to bring in the live player back in, and you got to pay them again.
Right, exactly. But also there's a larger creative issue to that, which is that the way I tend to work is I find talented people and I let them have their creative head. In other words, I let them follow their passions on the job that I brought them aboard to do. And if they start to go off in a direction that doesn't work for me, I'll tell them. But I let them pursue their enthusiasms within. I mean, so I think so. In other words, I don't micromanage. And I mean, in some cases I will. Like for instance, when Dave and I are working on the cut, or Elaine and Dave and I, then I'll say, yeah, well, let's come in a couple of frames early, or let's cut that, or let's flip the shot. That's where I really do get into the very, very, very fine-grained details. But with my visual designers or my VFX guys, or any of that stuff, it's like, let's see, let them take a run at it. Because one thing I learned when I wrote The Twilight Zone Companion was Buck Houghton was the great producer of The Twilight Zone, and we were talking about, when I was interviewing him, we were talking about how he got such amazing scripts from Richard Matheson and Charles Beaumont and George Clayton Johnson and so forth, and outline after outline, because you don't want to burn off the enthusiasm. You want, when they're writing the script, that they still are white hot enthusiasm for what they're doing, and it showed in the creative result. And so I very much want my people to bring their A game and feel that this is like one of the greatest opportunities they've ever had, and great fun, and and really cool.
But it is challenging because a lot of people don't know about composition.
No.
And some years ago, a composer came and they said they're butchering the budget. They don't understand. They're butchering the budget, and they're cutting everything. They're not cutting anything but music. They're taking all from music. And I said, okay, pick your favorite scene and score it cheap and score it perfect. Mm-hmm. And then play it for them. Say, okay, here's the 2 tracks. This is what you're going to be paying for now, and this is what you can get for this amount. What do you want on your movie? Mm-hmm. And they brought back the budget.
They brought it back up. Yeah, great. So anything else? Go ahead.
That's exactly what I do.
Great.
Because people don't get it.
Yeah.
They'll hear it.
Yes.
You'll hear the synth score versus with live players, and you have that the realism with the live players and that emotion that adds so much to the picture.
Yes.
But we're in a time period where people are just used to the electronic aspect and don't understand really where things can go.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But I think as a composer, that's my job to walk them down that path. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anything else, Earl?
Oh, I do want to mention that. So, like, one of my mentors in college was Gary Scheinman, who did all the BioShock video games. He was David Recklin was one of his teachers at USC.
Oh, how fun! That's
Everybody
great.
knows David Recklin. He's a legend in the whole game.
Wow, that's cool. Well,
that's
great.
great.
That's great. Well, 3 cheers! Yay! So, another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam.
Yeah, let's go with Guy Linda Bruton.
Thanks.
I hope I said that right. He says, I enjoy hearing you talk about the Twilight Zone companion. Is there a particular memory or inspiration that you would like to share?
Yes. Well, first of all, just to let everyone know, there's a new edition of the Twilight Zone companion that came out this last year that has 100 pages more of material. It's got 500 new photographs. It's got links to audio and video content. It's really cool. So if you haven't gotten the third edition, that's really the one to buy.
You got that link to a pretty great interview with George
Clayton Johnson.
About an hour.
Yeah, which we should post on Mr. Sci-Fi sometime soon, Dave. You know.
Pretty cool still photos in that too, huh, Mark?
Yes, you cleaned them up and made them look good. So, yeah, but the I mean, the great thing with the Twilight Zone companion, the thing I loved doing and the writing of it, was the fact that I was 21 years old when I started writing it, and it was 2 years after Rod Serling's death, so his house was exactly as it left. His widow was still living there. His dog was still there. All of the files and the scrapbooks and the 16mm prints of Twilight Zone, all of it was still there. And so, and also, except for Serling, who had died 2 years earlier, and Charles Beaumont, who had died many years earlier, virtually all the writers and directors and actors and producers were still alive. So I was able to interview over 100 people and get over 100 hours of recordings. Now, many of those found their way to the DVD and the Blu-rays as audio commentaries, But also I found video of Rod Serling teaching a class in writing where he'd show a Twilight Zone episode and then talk about it and field questions. And again, it was just such an honor to be doing that. And many times I would be coming across things that no one had ever talked about or seen or known before. And so I was it took 5 years to write that book while I was writing for animated shows and so forth. But
you started about, 13, 14 years after the show went off the air?
Yeah, it was about 15 years, I think. I started working on it in 1977, I believe.
That's pretty remarkable. And I mean, now it looks like such an old show, but in those days it was still pretty fresh.
Yeah, it was. And, in fact, growing up as a kid, I only saw 2 episodes when they actually initially aired on the network because it was on past my bedtime. But then it went into syndication. It was showing it like 3 in the afternoon or 3, and so I'd rush home and watch them at home, on channel.
What time did they air?
3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, just right after school.
No, I mean the original, the
like
original
10 at night on Fridays. Yeah, and but it was funny because one time when I was writing the Twilight Zone companion, there were like 3 episodes that just never aired on KTLA and syndication. And this is before video cassette recorders. This is before any of Twilight Zone had been released on home video. And so I called KTLA and I said, listen, I'm writing a book on the Twilight Zone, and there are these 3 episodes that you never seem to run. I just want to find out if you're going to, when you're going to be running them. And he said, well, what are they? And I said, well, I named the episodes. He said, well, I'll air them next week. So all of Los Angeles got to see those episodes because I needed to see them. So that was great. And so yeah, it was really cool. And so that's a memory from the Twilight Zone. So I guess David,
was that 10 p.m. Friday night slot considered graveyard? In
No.
9 o'clock on Friday night.
Yeah.
10 p.m.
Yeah. It varied. The time slot varied a bit over the 5-year run of the show, but it was definitely on past my bedtime when I was a kid. And
well, I was wondering because was that a spot that was a prime spot that the network gave it?
Initially, when it was airing, it may have been Thursday nights. I don't remember off the top of my head. And but the only 2 episodes I saw first run were Death Ship, and I had no idea what show it was. I had no idea who the actors were. And the other was the Long Morrow, where with Mariette Hartley and Robert Lansing, where he's put in the deep freeze as an astronaut, and they're both very fun episodes. But I love Death Ship. It's really a terrific episode. So let's see. So David Goldenholtz, you're up. Go for it.
All right. How you doing? So, as you know, well, first, before I introduce myself, I have something to show you.
Cool.
Mark.
Sure.
So, wait.
Look out.
My video thing.
See if we can make this work.
Virtual background.
There we go. Okay.
That way. Let me.
Okay. Let's see what it is. Oh.
Here.
Wow.
Oh.
That's neat. Huh. Cool. Cool. How fun. There.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. So go for it. Yeah.
Just wanted to show you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You collect all that stuff, so I
Sure.
figured you would like that.
That's great. That's great. So yeah. So how are you doing? What do you need?
Well, still doing the voiceover stuff, still doing the field mixing, sound mixing, sorry. And being in Florida, it's kind of a little bit difficult, but
Yes.
things are picking up slowly but surely. So I guess if people are knowing of anything, then yeah, but overall, I mean, I'm not really looking for anything. I've been posting on the table on the email site, but not really looking.
Okay. Okay. So
how are things in Florida? Is that your long-term permanent home?
No, it's I actually want to move to LA.
Yeah,
Good,
it's much
okay.
better here. There aren't as many alligators.
Yeah, well, and also there are two aspects to the table, and if you need to find an apartment, there's table at.
Well, yeah, the life at table list thing. Yeah, I mean, the basic thing is that once the pandemic is over, we'll have meetings in person again, and then it really is a very powerful tool because you're there with people and everyone feels very much like part of the family, and it's I mean.
But people are pressed; they need roommates.
Yes. Well, the funny thing is, we rented an apartment. Well, we've been in our apartment for a long time, but we rented a garage around the corner, and I got this text from the landlord saying, "Well, Lisa said she wants the space, so you have to move." And I thought, what? And so I called him. Finally, after a couple of days, got him on the phone, and he had misunderstood. One of our assistants had called him just to something. He totally misunderstood who she was and what we were saying. He thought we were saying we were moving out of the garage. It's like, no, we use that for Space Command. We use it as a holding space. It was so ridiculous, but you can still find, the point being, it's $150 a month. Now it's $175 for a garage and a parking space, and our rent, of course, in the apartment. West Hollywood's rent control, so it's a great deal. What we pay is crazy low. And so that you can find these bargains if you really look for them. It's and the table can be very helpful with that.
But there's a certain energy in terms of worldview and artisanship, and
particularly if you look in 1980.
Yes.
That's helpful.
Well, one trick with rent control is find a place and stay there.
But we visited Florida a couple of times.
Yes.
And it was every place is interesting, but it just didn't feel like an emotional match.
Not for us, no. But so anything else you need?
No, at the moment I'm pretty good.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, 3 cheers. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
We have a question from Mark Lungo.
Great.
We were talking about those episodes that you got KTLA to run.
Yes.
Do you remember the names of the episodes?
Let me think. One was The Gift, which is a very rarely seen episode about an alien who lands in a small Mexican village, and they misunderstand his intentions, and it goes awry. It's not a great episode. And the other ones I don't recall off the top of my head, but it was like ones they, for various reasons, never showed. But it was very helpful to see them. And the only episode I didn't see before the Twilight Zone Companion came out was The Encounter. And I read the script, and I interviewed George Takei, who's in it, but I only got to see it years later. And that was a very interesting experience to be able to finally see it. I'm very glad I did. It's a very good episode, actually. So let's see. So now, how about Mark Gushowitz? Yay!
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark. I'm an editor. Work's starting to come back to me. Last week I wasn't really busy, but clients are starting to come back to me with some work, so that's good.
Great.
A lot of stress going on right now, and I want to ask advice, but if I ask advice, the problem is it deals with another table member who's not doing anything wrong. It's just we're kind of clashing because we're not the same personalities.
Sure.
So I don't know how to ask that. I seem to have gotten myself into a situation working with someone, and it may not have been the best fit, two people together. But I don't believe in giving up on anything. I don't believe in quitting, and I don't believe in moving away.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to figure out how to solve the situation. I'm trying to talk to the person, and they seem to understand and agree, and then 2 days later, the same things are kind of happening.
Right. What I would suggest is get a mediator. Find someone at the table who you think might be a good mediator, like a David Bartlett kind of person or whomever, and have them. Because often I find that I think I'm being absolutely clear, and the other person thinks they're being absolutely clear, and we are not speaking the same language. And the mediator allows you to get a reality check on, is there accurate communication going on or not? Okay. And because you really need someone who's like not you and not the other person, but like a third person, but also it has to be someone who has no skin in the game. In other words, no, they don't have a dog in the race, you know, they have to be objective. So they're not going to take your side or the other person's side. They're going to, or they'll take both sides, you know, but they won't be trying to slant it one way or another, you know. So, you know, that's what I would suggest.
Like I said, I don't think the other person's doing anything wrong. It's just that we have very different takes on how things get done.
Yeah, sure.
And so there's that kind of situation. And also we have very different ways of handling things. I believe in talking things out. This person says, I heard you. You don't have to keep repeating yourself. And
right.
I will sometimes be like, yeah, I know you heard me, but I'm not sure you understood me.
Yes.
So there's a lot of stress kind of going there. So a mediator might be a good idea.
Yeah, because the therapeutic response to that, somebody says, I heard you, would the therapeutic response to that is to say, you say, have your say, you have 5 minutes each. You have your say, and then the other person repeats back to you what you just said. And you have to you get to keep correcting them until they actually say back to you what you just said.
Right.
And it's surprising where it's really hard to hear someone else. It's super difficult. But the thing is that if you sort of structure it and say 5 minutes each, here's what I'm feeling about this. Okay, tell me what I just said, and then you go back and forth. And sometimes that helps open it up because so it's very hard to be fair sometimes, you know. It's very hard to be fair, and so yeah, I think a mediator is a good idea. But
baby.
What? I'm sorry.
That was good.
Oh, okay. A mediator I think would be a good idea if you can find someone, but also just a technique of talking back and forth and setting time limits, and above all, try and express caring for the other person. You know, personally.
I actually understand all that, and it's like it's become a frustration because it's a situation that I got myself into that I thought would be a lot of fun, and because of how beneficial it's been in other areas, I certainly don't want to see it go away. But then again, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that, and then we go do the little thing that we're doing together, and he just falls right back into the old. And the person who has to fix it all, because I'm the editor, is me.
Oh.
And that becomes the problem because I even last time I talked to him said, I think this is kind of selfish because you're not the one doing the work after all this is done. And so it's been an issue. I'm giving myself time I'm said to myself, you know, if by the end of the year it doesn't work itself out, maybe it'll be time to move on and just figure it out. But I do want to work it out because once again, I don't think he's doing anything wrong. It's just two different personalities. So we just got to get on the same page. But it's been causing me a lot of stress. Anyway,
do you know if he would be open? Do you know if he'd be open to a mediator?
I don't know. I haven't actually suggested that because every time I try to talk to him, he like I just don't know how to explain it. But I think that the next conversation I have with him is going to be, I think we really need to have a talk. And then I will suggest maybe we even need somebody who kind of comes in, and David Bartlett's already offered his.
That's great.
So, and I like David, and David knows the other person that I'm talking about, so it might be a good person to do it. So I think that that's a really good idea because, it's been causing a lot of stress. It's taken up a lot of my time, and I just I want to move forward on everything else I'm trying to move forward on. So, and I know Earl, wherever he is, he wants me to move forward on some of the stuff.
No. You take your time with the film. Don't even worry. But I do want a second. When I was down there and David was mentoring me, I watched him mediate for others, and he is really good at that.
That's great.
I think he would really solve that.
That's great.
David is really strong in that area, so
Cool.
I would second that.
Yeah, there was actually, the whole entire thing started once because literally I was in the middle of doing something and I nearly called him up and just said I quit. But I don't do that. I've never quit anything in my life. I've always made it work. I've always figured it out. And I've always been successful at doing that. And so I want to make this work. So maybe, I'll talk to him, and then after I talk to him, I'll talk to David. Let's see how it works out. Okay, so now that everybody's heard me then, so I'm an editor. I'm a slash podcaster. I took your advice from last week, and I decided I was not going to air a show that was just riddled with glitches and problems. And we recorded our next show, which was an actress with a disability, and we talked all about the issues with actors and actresses finding work when they have a disability. And she even kind of changed my mind on certain things because I've always been along the lines of I don't have a problem with an actor without a disability playing a character with a disability because they should have the right to challenge themselves too. But through the midst of our conversation, started to kind of see things a certain way. And it was a very inspirational conversation with her because she is also a go-getter. And I think that anybody other than people with disabilities wants to break into this business. Hopefully they'll listen to this segment after I'm done editing the 2.5 hours we talked to her down to an hour and a half. So that's interesting. David Edison finally connected me with Joe Doherty to be on our show. The communication's gone back and forth now, so wherever Dave is, we're moving forward with that, although there's a slight issue with me and my co-host regarding that. Like I said earlier, the work's coming back. I just had a person who got distribution on their film last year. Well, the distribution company was not doing anything to get the film out there, so they decided they're going to. So they got me cutting trailers and stuff for them that they put up on social media. And then the person who runs the Highway Black Film Festival connected me with a couple of people who need some webisodes edited. So things, at least on that front, are going well.
Great.
Kind of thing. So we'll get through the stress. This business is always full of stress. We get through it. You got to have a thick skin. And if anything I learned from our interview, her name was Elaine Gruba, is you don't let anything get in your way. You figure out a way around stuff and you get it done.
Yay, okay.
And when this episode is up, hopefully it'll be, there were some hiccups in it just because we tried to approach it one way and then realized it didn't work and had to bring it around. But once it's up, I'm probably going to be pushing people to listen to it just because she was such an inspiration to listen to. She had a disability and she got turned down from work like crazy. And she just did not let it get in her way. And you listen to her talk, it makes you want to go out and conquer the world. So, and it's not us interviewing her, it's all her. The whole entire positiveness of the episode is 100% her and what she says. So,
great.
Well, that's all good stuff. Oh, and then the one thing that Earl will be happy to hear is one of the things that's been slowing me down on my short film is the graphics guy has just been taking forever. So my co-producer just got back from Puerto Rico, and he is now on the phone with other graphics people to get a second person on to get this stuff done, so I can lock this picture and put it in the last person's hands. Earl Smith sitting there because he's not only doing music, he's doing sound, and those will be the two last things outside of color correction, which I'll do. Yeah. So yeah, we're moving it forward. We're bringing somebody else on to get this thing done.
Yay, good, great, good for you, yay. Moving on, okay, great, good for you. Okay, David. Yep. Okay.
Oh, more than one David. So.
Is everyone there? Can you hear me? Good. So, thank you all for sharing my car ride. I didn't plan on that. I had someone at the studio for, I don't know, 6 months now I've been there, and I've been trying to get the internet to work. I never say try. That's one of those Yoda things. I just don't do it, but I was trying to get it working, and today it is now working. Not only is it working brilliantly, I have a 400 speed at home, which I guess is pretty fast, and the studio now has 600.
Yay, okay.
So it was awesome, but it took me up until this meeting starting to get it going. So anyway, this is David Bartlett. I am a filmmaker, a teacher, and a human rights activist, and one of the producers of Space Command.
Yay.
Also the post-production producer, the visual effects producer, in charge of crowdfunding and casting and color correction and a bunch of other stuff. And I've been building a studio for months, and now the studio is going to film its first scene. So we're all pretty excited about that. Mark is so excited he had to take the dogs for a walk. So my background is I made my first film when I was 10 years old. I saw the Battleship Potemkin and Lon Chaney's Phantom of the Opera on TV, and I couldn't go out and play in the sunny Oregon weather, which is never sunny, because I had to see these movies, and I was like, that's it, I want to make movies. So I made my first film that same year when I was 10. And then I worked in plays in high school and worked in movie theaters and moved to LA in 1980 and worked on the biggest film being shot at the time, like after being here for 1 week. So I've basically been on this trajectory since then until this moment of nonstop work in pretty much whatever area I wanted to be in, with no real connections of any kind, no family, no common religion, nothing that you would have as a normal key to the party, as my teacher used to say. Milton Catellis was my teacher for years. I didn't have any of those things. I just made them. So I've never been. Oh, also, when I first moved here, the Screen Actors Guild was on strike for 6 months. So there wasn't even any production to be involved with, but it didn't stop me. So don't give up. If you want to get something done, keep going, start, keep going, whatever it is, and you will get there. If you're not getting there, change it up. Something's going on, keeping you off the track. So find out how you can get back on the track. So that's kind of the teaching part that I like to do. I started working on big films briefly, and then low-budget films with Roger Corman, and James Cameron was the production designer. I was a set carpenter with him. And I was a set carpenter today, so those skills stay with you, folks. Because our set is not done, and it's going to be filmed on Sunday. So I then started working on some very large sound films, post-production sound. I worked on Pulp Fiction and Speed and Total Recall and Predator 2 and a bunch of other cool movies. And then I got into independent films and started producing and directing and writing films of my own that I was also editing and cinematography, and now I have 64 film festival awards. So if you have any interest in what it's like to work in big budget studio films or small independent films and go to festivals, I can probably help you with any of that. So I am also in charge of the table email. So if you are needing to get on the table email or you're having trouble with your table email, go ahead and email me and I will hook you up. I will put it on the chat here shortly. My email that you can reach me at. And if you're interested in working on Space Command, I'm also in charge of Space Command volunteers. I'm also looking rather desperately for a carpenter that could work tomorrow and Saturday. So if you guys know anybody or you are one, please give me a call. Now's your chance. And that is a paid position. So Yay. That's my Space Command pitch. So I'm now on a new track with the table. I want to tell a new story that I've never told every week. And let me see, what should this table story be today? I'm going to have to come back when I think of it. But I had, I can't tell. I have to think of a good one to tell. Okay. I should tell the Jerry Goldsmith story. Mark, do you think I should tell that story? Okay, good. Jerry Goldsmith, incredible, amazing, legendary film composer. John Williams, Jerry Goldsmith, there's others too. Franz Blackman. So obviously, well, I mean, there's so many famous ones from back in the day, but he's definitely one of the biggest ones. He did Planet of the Apes, which is one of the great experimental Sentinel scores, and he did Basic Instinct, which is as different as Planet of the Apes as you could get, and also just delicious, lush, amazing score. And I worked with him on Total Recall. So the composer is never on the dubbing stage. People say that, oh, he's always there, he's never there. They send a music editor to make sure that they play the music loud enough, but they don't come themselves. They might visit and check in, but they're too busy doing other scores. So jury doesn't come. And this is a very, red meat kind of group. The mixer for the sound effects had a free weight that he was curling weights under the mixing board in between his mixing so he could keep his muscles strong. And I'm not exaggerating. And Paul Verhoeven himself is is a very powerful director who's famous for, if he likes you, he will tolerate you and treat you well. And if he doesn't, he will not fire you, but he will make sure your life is miserable from one end of this film to the other. So luckily I fell into the former category. So we were all there on the stage, and Total Recall is this giant movie with huge sound effects and huge music, and it's loud, and it's one of those movies where you just want to keep turning things up because you can't hear it because everything else is playing. So the music editor is always saying, well, I think we should turn up the music, but he wouldn't say it that way. He'd say it all these different ways. One time we stopped and Paul said, okay, what do y'all think? And he says, you want us to turn up the music? Everyone laughed, and he waited, and he went back into his spiel. So he couldn't be stopped. So last day of the mix, Jerry Goldsmith comes to the stage, and it's like the world stopped and the ground opened up, and it was like, oh my God, Jerry is here. And he has this big white shock of hair, and he's very imposing. People are like, oh my God, good Jerry, good to see you. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, oh wow. So he sits down, we're mixing the last reel, and the planet is transforming, and Arnold's face is popping around. It is crazy. Total Recall, right? And it's kind of a mess. There's a lot of music, there's a lot of sound effects, and it's kind of a clash. So this goes on for a while, and I said, Paul says, does anyone have any suggestions? So I said, I have a suggestion, and the whole room turned their heads, looked at me like, what are you doing talking, right? And I said, I think you should try it once without the music. And it was a shock, absolute, oh my God, forget it, you didn't just say that, right? And Paul says, okay, so we do, and it was better, okay? So Paul says, now let's try it once just with the music alone so I can hear it. So we do that, he hears it, and he goes, okay. And he sits there and no one says anything. I swear this happened, okay? Jerry turns to Paul and he says, I think I like it better without the music.
Wow.
We were like, are you kidding me? And I'm looking around like, what? So Paul says, I will sleep on it. The next morning we come in, we put it in, no music, and that's the way the film is. Now, I found out a little bit later, there's a bit more to the story. Jerry Goldsmith had used a theme in that particular cue that was a little bit like a movie he had done called Outland, which is a little bit like a Warner Brothers movie, and this was not a Warner Brothers film, and there was some concern about the legal rights to it. So he used my suggestion to make him look good, to dump his cue so they didn't have a lawsuit.
Wow.
So that's the true story behind that. So that's my story for this week.
Okay, very good.
I don't think I ever
right.
told Mark that story. I'll tell him privately sometime.
That'd be fun. That's a great story.
There you
Okay,
go.
all right, thanks. Welcome, yay. I guess we'll hold off on Mr. Sci-Fi until Mark returns with Dog A and Dog B. And
that works because we don't have any current questions.
Oh my God, here he comes. But onward to Mike, are you there? Mike and Jim, Mike, are you? Do you hear us? It's Mike's turn, but I guess Mike has stepped away for the moment.
Sure.
Okay, no, Mike.
I can check Mike if you want.
Okay, great. All right, that would be wonderful. Okay,
What's that?
Adam.
Yeah, go for it.
Mike and
Hi guys.
Sure. Hi.
Back. Adam Sartain here, voice actor with 75 different voices, accents, and impressions, and a musician. I play the tuba.
Yay.
So, yeah, and of course, as you might have noticed, I'm associate producer on Space Command.
Yay.
I don't know, you might have heard of it. Anyway, I've had A not so busy week, but that was by design. I took a little retreat on Tuesday, which was very relaxing, and so that was good. And now I'm back, and I am doing the latest for me, other than Space Command, is I'm gearing up for the holiday season, in which I'm going to be playing Santa Claus.
Cool.
Yay.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's
There
what I
you
look
go.
like as Santa.
That's great.
Yeah. And this is what I sound like as Santa.
That's great. That's great.
So I'm going to be with Jingle Ring, and if any of you know someone who does Santa work or Mrs. Claus work, they are looking for Santas and Mrs. Clauses.
Wow.
So you can go to look up Jingle Ring, the Worldwide Sales Network, I think it's called. And if you sign up, just be sure to mention my name.
Great.
They have a referral program for that.
Cool.
So, I've had some voiceover gigs, doing some redos for some, and it's funny. I'm always like ready to re-record my stuff when I do voiceover, but it's always been no, this is perfect. You don't need to redo anything.
Great.
And the only reason I needed to do redos for this project is called the Undead Radio. And basically, I was hired as the announcer, which means I just basically did like 5 different radio ads, like actual radio ads.
Cool.
So that was fun. But yeah, it was the copy. They changed the copy of the radio ad, and they wanted me to redo it with the new copy. So I was able to get that done and send that out today.
Great.
Other than that, that is it for me.
Okay. Yay.
All right, good.
So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Let me just double check here.
Okay.
No, I think we're
caught up.
I think we're caught up. We're all
Okay,
caught up.
Great.
that's fine. So now who hasn't had a turn, Elaine?
Well, after David Bartlett, Mike seems to have disappeared.
Well, yeah, so we will skip Mike, and then so it would be Stephanie, I guess. So if you want to take your turn, Stephanie, go for it.
Sure. I had actually just popped onto YouTube briefly, and they were talking about mediation, and I have a master's degree in peace and conflict studies.
Oh, good.
Wow,
And so
great.
I texted Mark and gave him my information.
Okay, great.
If he wanted me to do any of that.
Terrific.
And Nonviolent Communications by Mark Rosenberg, and you can Google that, and there's a chart on how to do that.
Great.
And it's pretty easy to do if he's not familiar with that. It's
Cool.
an easy thing to do, or he can just, contact me later. And I live in North Carolina. I do life coaching, and
Great.
I'm happy to be a part of all of this. And my ankle is recovering, and I'm back in an ankle brace, and I can drive again. So
Great.
it's really good.
Great. Is there anything you need?
No, that's it. It's just that's a resource, and it just happened to pop on when it was happening. And I've got stuff I've got to do. But you all have a great night, and
Great.
if anybody needs anything, just let me know.
Yay! Thanks a lot. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam? Has anything come up?
Let's see here. We have a question from Dr. Essex. It says, is there a company you buy a green screen from that might sell smaller home versions?
Amazon has that stuff. Amazon offers those kind of things, and so they're not that expensive. Now, also, I know there's a question about. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, I believe there's the like foldable ones that fold out, and it's a self-contained thing.
Yes, though of
I've
course
seen
the
that.
greatest recent green screen moment ever basically was when Melania Trump wore a green screen dress, which allowed all of the comics to drop different messages onto her dress when she was walking down the stairs with Donald. That was pretty amazing, and yeah, but it was, I'm sure that, great. It's great. So also I know someone asking if they're not in the industry, can they ask questions about sci-fi? Yes, of course you can. Yes.
I can make a green screen comment too.
Sure.
Highly regarded buying a green screen. It's made out of stretchy fabric.
Great.
Not
Terrific.
a flat column that you iron. So they're very difficult to get unwrinkled. And the stretchy ones can be stretched on a frame. The frames can be purchased really cheap these days. So they have clips and frames and kits that's all together, but make sure that it's elastic.
Great.
Get flat and be happy. There are even ones that come with a ring that you can fold up and they pop up. Even those are flat and happy. That's a big difference when you try to take those wrinkles out of a green screen because they stay there. Anybody that's ever done any Photoshop, they had problem areas you couldn't quite get out. That's what it's like. So
Wow.
that's my 2 cents worth about the green screen.
And any editor will tell you what happens when you try and get a wrinkly green screen. Work with a wrinkly green screen. Yeah.
And the tracking markers.
Oh God.
And the tracking markers, which you don't need anymore. That's behind us too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay. Mike, there you are.
Go
You're
for it,
back.
Mike.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Mike Lopez.
Oh, Mike, you're a little soft. Can you?
How's that?
What might be going wrong? He's a little.
How's that?
That's
Is that
okay.
better?
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Okay, all right. Well, I am a former cop and a former minister turned independent filmmaker. And just let you, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody, but when I was a cop, my favorite form of conflict resolution was the handcuffs. That pretty much resolved everything. So, but don't do that unless you're authorized to cuff. Anyway, don't need anything right now. I'm just in the middle of editing my project, and as soon as I'm done, I'll set up my next project. I've got a lot of money saved up to produce it, and I've got my cast already picked. It's only one other person. And I think it's going to be a really good project. I'm really happy with it. It's really ambitious for me. And most likely I will be acting in it. So I'm going to have to get someone to direct for me because I've been told, do not direct yourself.
Yes.
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 It's very difficult. I did a 5-minute film with Jim, and I directed myself, and 5 minutes was difficult enough. So you can imagine a 15-minute.
Yes.
Just putting out to everybody, if you need any help, you have a project with some kind of a police element, be more than happy to help you out. I've got all the gear, weapons, nothing real. But everything you're going to need, uniforms, experience, how to do a realistic hand-to-hand fight. I can choreograph for you. I've done that for other people, and apparently they've been very happy with my work. But other than that, I really don't have anything other than that. It's just been a good couple of months for me, actually. Just having to sit in the house, I had to force myself to be creative. So
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. Okay, great.
I know a lot of people will talk about try and stay creative. Well, for me, it wasn't a problem. So
How is Jim, by the way?
Jim is good. It's tired a lot these days, but
yes.
But it's okay because I read up on stroke victims and if they're excessively tired or sleepy, and apparently it's unless there is some kind of a real physiological problem, it's fine.
Yes.
Problems, so when he wants to go to sleep, just let him sleep.
Okay, that's fine. So great. Anything else, Mike?
No. Yeah. There was one thing I forgot when you guys mentioned it about how to frame my pictures. I got those. It's from Herman Zimmerman.
Yes.
I was thinking about putting in frames. I
Yes.
really want to put them up on the wall.
Yeah.
Now, where can you go for frames and stuff? And
Well,
how difficult? Or
Amazon sells frames of pretty much any size, and they deliver them quickly, and they're not expensive, and they're easy to put together, and that's what I would suggest. I wouldn't go to a frame store or anything like that. I just would do something simple.
Because I got 10 of them.
Yeah. But just measure the size of them and type in that dimension. Picture frames, 11 by 14 or whatever, and you'll see a lot of options.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I want to get that done.
Yeah, and then what size are they? What are they?
Different sizes.
Oh, cool.
There's a couple of poster sizes, and then a couple of smaller ones like portrait.
Yeah.
Small portraits.
Usually with poster frames, it's not glass, it's plexi, just because of the weight, and so you kind of want to make sure of that, because obviously if it falls and shatters, that's a problem. and if it's near a window, sun resistant, of course, like UV is very important. But that's
and did you
the
want
main thing.
any of them matted?
You can.
I don't know.
Okay.
How difficult is that to do?
Not well. Actually, you can order frames from Amazon that have mats in them. So it might have like an 8 by 10 window, what's called a window, and then the frame itself would be like 11 by 14. You'll see it. It's pretty easy. And
Real easy, huh?
yeah,
You
it's
slip it in and put the back
yep,
on it.
yep. Just make sure you use non-acid tape. Okay, so if you're going to tape it in there, make sure it's not acid, because the acid of regular tape will just bleed through into the front of the image and
you can
fuck
see
it up.
some of the stuff behind us. You see most of it is matted.
Yeah, and that's fine.
If I'd known it was that easy, how come I didn't do it sooner?
Well, there you go.
There you go.
That's what other people are for, so cool. Well, great. Yay, 3 cheers, Mike. Is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we've got another question from Dr. Essex.
Cool.
Who says, is there any B-roll contribution that you could use for Space Command? For example, forest or field or lake that you would need.
Yeah, you bet. So this would be a thing where if you email me at markzicree@gmail.com, I can connect you up with David Bartlett, Dave Edison. I'm sure we can find something that would be of great use to us. So the more the merrier.
How do you spell Mark Zicree?
It's MarkZicree @gmail.com. Cool.
And I put your email in the chat.
Great. Thank you, Adam. So I see 2 more names. I see Casey. Are you there, Casey? If you are, you can unmute and have a turn if you'd like.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Casey Corpier. I'm a horror movie filmmaker in the Dallas area, and
cool.
Occasionally I come out to Los Angeles.
Good.
Where I shoot horror movies and documentaries about horror movies.
Great.
I shoot haunted attractions, and we're getting ready for our Halloween season over here.
Wow. Cool.
And if the world opens back up pretty soon.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And I'm currently writing, and we'll be heading out your way in the near future. And
cool.
Be looking for work.
Great. Well, great. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity and a lot of possibility. I mean, the cool thing is, of course, that there's such a voracious need for content because people have been home watching TV all the time. So that's a good thing. So,
but you're sort of lagging because Adam is already doing Christmas.
Yes.
And if you're still on Halloween,
you're a piker.
Well, Halloween hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Now, have you
to go into production?
Yes. Now, have you had any conversations with the executives at Shudder? Because that's a horror specific channel. So I don't know if you've.
I haven't had too many conversations with them. I know John Bloom.
Oh, okay. So
he's got a show on there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just sort of saying, who would I want to talk to? I know there's Shudder. I think there's another one that A&E owns. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Again, I mean, it's what they're doing now is dividing the audience up finer and finer and finer, and
Shudder is owned by AMC.
Yeah. Yes.
And, All the others are now being bought up by Universal.
Yes, not a surprise. But so anything else you need right now?
Nothing right now. Just listening into the meeting.
Okay, great. Well, it's good. It's good to hear your voice. So, 3 cheers! Yay! So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Not for now. We're all caught up. We
Cool.
do have one who's trying to track down a sci-fi book, but he doesn't remember the title. So
does he remember the plot?
Waiting to see if he's gonna put the plot in the chat.
Yeah, it's
We don't have that yet.
yeah. Okay, great. And so
Somebody wants you to break out your tuba.
yeah. Well, there you go. There you go.
I know.
And Gino was here a moment ago. Are you there, Gino? Is that
There he
you?
is. Oh yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Go for it.
Yeah. First time doing it in the car for this deal.
Yeah.
Okay. I see a couple of people that I've never seen before. I do my usual beginning spiel. Hi, Gino. Kick-ass actor, filmmaker, comedian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm available for table reads. So yeah, and if I fit the specifications of something that you may be casting, I'd be honored to read for you. Had a really great comedy set last night. That's pretty much it. Just check it in. Wanted to be with everybody, be with the spirit,
great
the energy. I do have one other thing that I thought of,
Sure.
and that's where on as far as the Twilight, on the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Nowadays, yeah, it comes on channel 54 and 244 of the Sci-Fi channel.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, but it's real annoying because the Sci-Fi channel, they edit a nice little chunk of the scenes.
Yes, that's where you want to watch it on something like CBS All Access or Netflix. There's a lot of the different. One thing that's good to do is just kind of see where, and there are even complete Twilight Zone episodes on YouTube. So just kind of nose around a little bit because it's really worth seeing them in their entirety when they're cut up or even worse sped up. That can really screw up the narrative, and so be wary of that. And of course, if you want to hear me talk for 30 hours, buy the Blu-ray because I did 52 commentaries. So Okay, are you up to it? Yeah. Are you feeling okay? Okay, great. So, anything else, Gino?
Guys, the dog.
Yeah, the dog's being a little insistent. So, anything else, Gino?
How much is that deal?
The Blu-ray set.
52 commentaries. How much does that cost?
It's.
roughly?
I think it's about I think you can probably get it on eBay or on Amazon for I don't know, $35-40, something like that. I mean, it was a lot.
They were about that per season, and I think since they've come out with the 5 seasons in a box set for significantly less.
Yeah. So, but make sure it's the Blu-ray because that'll have all the commentaries, and so yeah, go for it. So, anything else, Gino?
Oh, that'll do it. Thanks.
Yay!
Thanks, Dave.
So, has everyone else had their turn? Have we gone around? Yes, David.
Twilight Zone full Blu-ray set, $54.98 on eBay.
Great, terrific. Go for it.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, grab it. So and David, I assume you had your turn, right?
I did. You missed my Jerry Goldsmith story, but I'll share it with you sometime.
Yeah, that's great. Terrific. Well, I have something to look forward to. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam? And then we can do me, and maybe Elaine will be back in time for that.
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So it's me, wonderful me. So it's good to see everyone and all the Mr. Sci-Fi fans as well. Just for everyone's edification, I just posted a video on the passing of my friend Ron Cobb, who was an amazing artist, amazing designer on Star Wars and Back to the Future and Indiana Jones and all sorts of stuff, and a dear friend, and we used one of his designs in Space Command. I knew him since I was 16. Phenomenal man. And in fact, my first book, I have a lengthy interview with him, and that's available through the Space Command store. But the things are going great. I mean, I have no complaints. We're shooting on Sunday at our studio for the first time in a long time. And I'm writing the new book, Greenlighting Yourself. And I'm writing the short story, Grizzled Space Jockey, for an anthology, Space 1975, that's going to be coming out shortly. And Working on the Showrunners Network. Gonna have the table read, the Zoom table read for that, for Sweet Haven in the next few weeks, and working on all 6 of those shows. I'm in conversation with Rod Serling's daughter, to do Rod Serling's After Twilight, which is a show that will be narrated by Rod from the dictaphone belts that were long thought lost, but they found 200 of them at 3 different university archives, and they've never been transcribed, so that's going to be amazing. And what else? I'm reaching out to my friend Andros Sturgeon, who's the son of Theodore Sturgeon, the great writer, because Kilgore Trout, the fictional science fiction writer in Kurt Vonnegut's works, was based on Ted Sturgeon, who was a friend and mentor. And so I want to do an anthology show called Trout and Sturgeon, where we dramatize the short stories of both Theodore Sturgeon and Kilgore Trout. And so I'll be talking to the Sturgeon family first, and then go to the Vonnegut estate and see what happens. And beyond that, Elaine, we had a meeting with a friend of ours who's an executive at Endemol Shine in London via Zoom yesterday, and he's going to be reading Elaine's new pilot, which Amazon is also considering. It's called Harbor. And it's very funny because this guy's English. He said, well, is it spelled the correct way or the American way? Because the American is Harbor, and the British way is Harbour. So we said, well, if you're going to read it, we'll change it to Harbour, which we did. And so that's fun. So that's really fun. And, so it just keeps going. It's the irony is that because of Zoom, you can really talk to people and have meetings and all sorts of stuff now. The industry is starting back up, and as a result, people are very open to having meetings. And so it's very fun. And the new book, it's Greenlighting Yourself, and I'm been in touch with Neil Gaiman and various other of my friends to quote them in the book and make sure I get it right. And I started to think about doing a book about Ron Cobb's movie work, because there's never been a book on that, and there should be. And I reached out to a friend of mine who's a senior editor at Titan Books, and I think I may need a collaborator for that. And there's a guy that my book agent years ago introduced me to, who writes making of books on different movies. And I'm going to reach out to him and see if he might want to collaborate, because I just do not have the time to run down all the rights and all of that stuff. But Cobb's work on so many things was so great. He designed the DeLorean time machine, and on and on and on. So I'd love to see that book come out, but I have to be very careful of my time as well. So that's about it for now. I don't think Elaine's going to be back in time, sadly, but she's doing well, and her approach to directing on Space Command, which we're co-directing, is great. It's great to watch her work with actors and work with all the different departments. And Dave and I have been cooking along on one of the big sequences in the Space Command pilot, which I'm very eager to see more of. And Elaine and I have been collaborating on that stuff, and we even dropped in voiceovers where she's doing a warning voice and I'm doing a warning voice, and it's like really fun. So that's about it. I'm going to be getting a spacesuit that's a copy of the spacesuit from Alien very shortly. A friend of mine did the Alien high school play in New Jersey, which I flew out there to watch it, and it was absolutely wonderful. Sigourney Weaver showed up as a surprise, and if you ever want to see scenes from that, or Sigourney Weaver's speech from that at the end of the play, you can go on Mr. Sci-Fi and just type in Alien, and a whole bunch of stuff will come up. So that's about it. Does anyone else need anything, or are we no? So I guess what we'll do. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
There was a Mr. Sci-Fi question. Sure. From Scott Gamble, who says he sees a space on the wall behind you. Yeah. I don't think I see it, but
it's if I turn it
there.
Is
any space,
yeah. What I'm going to be putting there is I have a photo of myself and Ray Bradbury that Ray signed to me, and I also have a copy of a painting he did called The Halloween Tree, which he also signed to me. So I'm going to put those up there next to the Janis Joplin portrait, and and you can't see it on this, but it's way over there and up there and so forth. Yeah, you can sort of see it over there.
Oh,
but,
right there.
Yeah. But I've been basically redoing some of the walls and putting some cool stuff on the walls that I've wanted to put up for a long, long time. And you know, so it just keeps going. And but it's very fun, and you know, it's I have to balance my time so that I'm always, you know, I mean, it's very cool on a given day that I'll be working on the editing, the visual effects, writing scripts, working with actors, doing the table, doing Mr. Sci-Fi, writing a book. I mean, it's good that I came up in television where I was really well trained in multitasking, because it's a discipline that is invaluable when you have it. And you know, so there's that. And so that's about it for now. Thanks a lot, guys. It's great seeing everyone. Stay healthy, stay well, and you know, really be careful. It is you know, despite what some people say, it's out there and it's really bad, and be careful. We don't want you guys to make it 200,001. So you know, so take care, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. And to the Mr. Sci-Fi fans, talk to you next time. Bye.